Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome back inside the Lock Shop. Dusty and Huss with you as we get set for the Wyndham Championship. We'll get into that. Baseball actually worked out pretty well for us last night as well, Huss. I went 3 for 3 and almost like a no sweater. Orioles won big, Cubbies won big, and then the no in the Astros game. And you were on the Cubs. Did you go 3 for 3 as well?
Well, no, I didn't, and it's quite funny. Play of the day was Alcantara. The Marlins need it. All he does is throw 8 shutout innings, leaves with the lead, and allows their closer to throw up all over himself and lose it in the 9th. But to be honest, listen, I would have liked to have won that for anyone that tailed. But for the 3-gamer I gave out in the Lock Shop, if that had won, it would have been very difficult to accept the Mets losing to the Kansas City Royals on a walk-off balk. You heard me correctly. A balk was how the Royals won the game last night. So, it's all degrees of anger and frustration. I was so pissed off when I saw what happened in the bottom of 9 in that Marlins-Phillies game. But I laughed knowing that if that had actually been in the bag, I would have been bridge jumping. That my Royals were the team that blew up the parlay and did it on a walk-off balk. You cannot make this stuff up. The Mets, man, the Mets are on a whole nother level of dysfunction, of losing. Let's just get some Frank the Tank clips and start playing them right now. He went off. I was convinced he was going to have cardiac arrest last night on a couple of those videos that he put up.
Did
Absolute classic stuff.
Did the guy calling the game call it a balk-off? He would have had, if he didn't, he missed a major opportunity, buddy.
I know McAuliffe did last night on Sports.
Yeah, of course, Timmy did. He gets it. That's good stuff.
He's awesome. I have to say,
he's being underutilized right now, in my opinion.
Well, to be honest, I think this is the best spot for him, and I think it's going to be big for them. He is that show. He reminds me of Canadian SVP. Everybody's buddy gets into it stuff. I don't want to compare their competitors or anything like that, but I have to say, I've never been a big Sports Central guy. And after a few of the games, I've kind of realized that McAuliffe's been doing it. It is as good of a show as we've had in Canada in a long time.
I think anything Tim does can be gold. You know what I mean? He's just that good. When they took his show away, I was like, what the hell? He's like one of your best talents. So it's good that he's landing and doing good things. All right, let's bring in Pat Gregoire. We are going to talk some Wyndham Championship here. And Patty, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing good, boys. It's weird. The last couple of weeks, and I know I've come on the show and give out some picks and have had some enthusiasm, but it's kind of been like the dog days of summer for golf. I'm kind of just waiting to get going here for the FedEx Cup playoffs.
We're this close,
I'll be honest,
right?
And I'll be honest, the FedEx Cup playoffs is great, but I just keep bringing myself back to thinking about the Ryder Cup in the fall here and who's going to be on the team. And, I'm starting to feel like I like Team Europe a little more than Team US. And the story, I think, obviously the big story, not just for this week, but heading into the playoffs potentially, is JT. Is he going to get in the FedEx playoffs? And if he doesn't, he's got to not be on the Ryder Cup. But then again, he's best friends with pretty much everyone on that team.
The whole crew.
Vibes are good.
Yeah.
He's got great history at the Ryder Cup. So not to make this a Ryder Cup show, but that's where my brain keeps going, man.
Well, obvious question, Pat. Can we bet on it? Can we get a line on whether JT is going to be on Team USA? You think it's the dog days of summer talking about golf? Try cranking out 2+ hours a day straight with nothing going on in hockey. Luckily, we've got a huge football game that this guy's going to be in Winnipeg to call. We've got, the Lions Bombers is going to be huge on Thursday night here. Canada's out of the World Cup. We aren't getting a lot of favors done these days as far as content stuff. But I am interested. I would love to know what the odds are. I mean, if you kind of wrote that up to the bookies, I mean, Justin Thomas on merit for this year shouldn't even be on the conversation, to be perfectly honest.
Not even close.
But when you look at what he's done over the course of his career, and especially at Ryder Cups, and especially playing with Jordan Spieth, and he's been pretty clear, even though he said, listen, I know I suck, but I'll be there and I think I'll be great. I would love to know what sort of a line that is right now. I mean, is he favored to be on it? Is he an underdog to be on it? I don't know. Fly that up the flagpole and see what they crank out for us.
If I know any better, I know Jake is probably watching, and he's probably sent it to our golf odds makers now. So who knows? We might get
odds on if Jake has already sent this off to get odds on it. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know.
Minus 300. Yeah, Jake's always on it.
Patty, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about like the dog days right now. But with that being said, I still didn't mind building a card for the Wyndham. Like, it's still like there's some guys there. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good value on this guy. You don't usually see him in this spot. So I didn't mind putting this bad boy together. Where'd you come out? What do you like? Who do you like?
Nobody under 20-1.
I was just gonna say, super intriguing.
Yeah,
outrights and a lot of movement. A lot of movement, because I'll start with my first guy, Sam Burns. I got him yesterday at 28-1. He's now down to 25-1. And when you talk about Sam Burns and Bermuda grass, like, this guy cooks on the Bermuda grass. And that's what we have this week for this tournament. He's gained 31.8 strokes putting on Bermuda greens in the last 36 rounds. That's the second best in this entire field. Played here in 2020, finished T13. And this kind of goes into a little bit of a hot debate right now in golf, is like, can golfers flip a switch? Can golfers say, when things are more on the line, can they go out there and play better? That's the question right now with JT, because it's a win, or maybe not even win. It's T18, or not even T18, solo 18, and he makes it to the playoffs. Well, Burns is already in, but Burns is one of those guys battling for one of those last spots on the Ryder Cup team. He is battling to get more points so he can survive longer in this FedEx Cup playoff. I think he's 19th right now, so he is sitting pretty. But it's been a weird season for Burns. He has 5 top 10s, 10 top 25s, and he's got a win. But he's missed the cut twice in his last he's missed the cut 4 times in his last 7 starts.
Wow.
So this is, and I think it's 2 in the last 5. So it's been a little bit ugly for Burns, but when Burns is on, and when he's on Bermuda grass, he's on. So I really like him here at 28-1. Denny McCarthy at 25-1. He's a guy that I think you could put him in the conversation for like one of the most consistent golfers on tour right now. He has been on fire. He's been so close. And I think this field might be the time for him to finally get a win on tour. He's been great as of late. And I know,
Pat, where speaking of Denny, just quickly, where is he in the Ryder Cup standings? Do you know?
I actually don't know. That's a great question.
I can try to look that up for you guys.
Maybe you can, because he's got to be close. Let's even just look back at, we'll say from the Wells Fargo T8, T29 at the PGA Championship, missed the cut of the Charles Schwab, but then he's places second at the Memorial Tournament, finishes in the top 20 at the U.S. Open, the Travelers T7, John Deere T6, and then misses the cut at the Open Championship. But he has just sprinkled in a lot of top 10s, a lot of top 20s, and he's just right there, and he's been super consistent. When you look at all the analytics, he's right there. And at this price in this field, it's not quite like the 3M or even like the Rocket Mortgage from a few months ago. It's a little bit different of a field, but it's very similar. And I just think that this is a spot for him where he can come out here and potentially win. And I'm probably going to pair this with a top 10 or a top 20, because this is just a guy that finds him sniffing around when it comes to Sunday.
I looked it up. McCarthy is 15th in the Ryder Cup standings, 1 spot behind Justin Thomas. So kind of interesting where that sits.
Which is wild. And I mean, Sam Burns is right there. Ricky's at 12. I mean, you've got some pretty good names in and around there. I mean, Morikawa at 11, he's going to be on the team. You would have to think. I mean,
Yeah.
So
Keegan Bradley.
it's tough. I think a win would go a long way for Denny. I think he'll probably be looking on the outside, but I mean, your guy Tony Finau, is he going to find his way onto the Ryder Cup team?
Go ahead,
Tony. I mean, Tony's 19th right now. And I mean, listen, if he wasn't on the team, I think a lot of people would understand it. Thing about Tone is that he's done it before. And I'll tell you what, we have to remember this is a team competition. And for all the reasons why Patrick Reed is highly unlikely to be on the team, Tony Finau is like the ultimate teammate. I mean, every single guy loves him. He gets along with everyone, can play with everyone. So I think that if it does come down and they're kind of going between a couple guys, like for instance, a Denny McCarthy or a Kitayama that might be a little ahead of him, Tony's getting the nod. That being said, he's a little far back when you look at, the other guys that are in the mix on this. So to your point, Pat, these next little bit, I mean, I know we can say, it's the Wyndham, and then we're kind of getting in facts. There is a ton on the line for a handful of golfers that have not secured their participation in the Ryder Cup. And we know how important it is for these guys to get a chance to be a part of it.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, with all the talk of JT this week, I'm on the other JT this week with JT posting at 30-1. I think that this is a guy that obviously has had success here. That's where he won his first PGA event. He's from the home state of North Carolina, and he's been pretty hot as of late. T2 at the 3M last week, 3 top 10 finishes in his last 4 starts. So I'm riding with the hot hand, but he also checks off the box for course history as well. So that finishes my outrights for right now. The board has my mind in a mental pretzel because we're not seeing any numbers below 20-1. I don't know how to deal with this. Sung JM, I really hemmed and hawed for a long time, but instead I just went with a top 10 for him at plus 200. In his last 4 starts at the Wyndham Championship, he's finished inside the top 10 3 times, including a T2 here last year. So I think if his number was better than 20-1 to win, I would probably think about it. It's just, again, I think this field with this odds boards for outrights, I only have 3 placed right now, but call me at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Actually, don't call me at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Call me tonight.
Hello, Pat. I was just wondering. Good morning. Good morning, Pat. I was just wondering, have you added anything else to the board?
He's an early riser. He's very early riser.
If you talk to me tonight before my head touches the pillow, I wouldn't be surprised if I have 2 more ads to my card. It's just so intriguing, but the numbers are so close. The golfers are so close. It's really hard to decide which way you're going to go. Do you go with course history? Do you go with recent form? Or do you go with the guys like the JTs, like the Sam Burns, the guys that need this more? Do you believe that golfers can just flip a switch? Because if that's the case, why didn't they split the switch 2 months ago? Golf's a crazy game. I kind of believe you can't buy into it too much, but it comes to a point where a guy like JT has to be JT at some point. And if he's not here, he's got a long off season to figure things out. And if he can turn things around, I'm very, very tempted to bet him top 20 and just cheer for him because I like him. I want to see him on that Ryder Cup team. And I'm not suggesting anyone else do it because it might not be a great bet right now. But I think this is just, me putting on my JT hat and saying, let's root for the guy, because you never want to see an elite player go downhill like this, especially a nice guy like JT.
Yeah, Thomas is plus 160 for a top 20 right now.
Yeah.
As we get ready for the tournament. It's kind of funny because he's right there with Adam Scott. In fact, Adam Scott has a lower outright number, or a higher, I guess, depending on how he's 40-1 as an outright, but he's plus 155 for a top 20 as opposed to JT's plus 160. So, I think people give benefit of the doubt that if Thomas is in it, he's probably got a little bit of more win equity. but it's more likely that a lot of these other guys are in the top 20 than Justin Thomas is the way that he's done.
I just want to pop in here quickly because this is going to be the easiest partner parlay we've ever done in our entire life, because I know, like, you've laid out your two guys. I know Huss's picks and I know my picks, and we're all on Poston, all of us. And then I was on McCarthy until I saw Huss was also on McCarthy. So I was like, well, then I'll pick somebody else. Huss can go with McCarthy this week. So I'm 100% on board with McCarthy. He was actually going to be my top play. So I am 100% all in on those two guys. I know Huss is as well. And just quickly, my other guy, well, I got two other guys. Huss, what were you going to say before I dive into my...
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that considering I'm not going to need to rehash a couple of the players on my card, I will just point out, just for folks, especially people that are listening on the podcast of this, I sort of mentioned how weird this board was with nobody under 20-1, but a real packed group. The favorites right now, as we do this show, are Hideki at 20-1, Russell Henley at 20-1, Siwoo Kim 20-1, and Sung Jae Im at 20-1. Then you get to Denny McCarthy and Sam Burns at 25. The Postman now is at 28. I'm not sure if you got him at a good number at 30 a little earlier, but anyways, I'm in at him. I'm in at him on 20.
I got him at 30 at the start of the week.
Okay,
nicely done. And then we've got 333s. Alex Smalley, it's a name that doesn't seem like it really belongs there, but I mean, and then JT, Shane Lowry at 33, Aaron Rye 35, and then you get to 40 with Adam Scott and Ludwig Aberg. And I don't know, watch Ludwig win when I finally jump off that train. After the last
That's what always happens. Yeah. That's why I'm going back to JT Poston, because I had him last week on my picks and he finished 7th. And I was like, I can't get off this guy right now. Like, there's no chance.
You know why? And he should have been second alone. I'm not sure if anybody saw the 18th hole, but he dropped an 8, I believe, an 8 or a 9 on the final hole. And he put it into the drink at least once. And he was interviewed afterwards. And they said, all you needed to do was get like a double bogey and you would have been solo second. And he's like, yeah, but I was playing to win. And I'll do that every single time. I love that. And you know what? That was part of the reason why I actually got on him this week. I mean, listen, there's a lot of guys that can win. He's playing well. He was in contention. We'll see what happens. But I do think that there is some evidence historically that guys that do that go for the win, that fall short, I think come back in a better spot when they're in that situation again. And anyways, I had a ton of respect for JT, what he had to say, the way he did it, even though he cost himself about $300,000. So I'm in on JT at 28-1. And listen, I'll echo everything that you said about Denny McCarthy. He has just been automatic. And listen, the outright number is a little short, but that's part of what this field is right now. But when we get into a little partner parlay, if we're talking about top 10s or top 20s, I think we're definitely in. Here's my other pick, and this is going way down the board. And a nice little swing. But I think there's a lot of reasons to think this guy could absolutely contend. And heck, he just won a couple weeks ago. Why not again? And that is Ashkay Badia. Yeah. What did he win? Was it the Barbasol or the
Barracuda?
The Barracuda.
Yeah, Barracuda. Right. Top 10 at Barbasol, though.
And, I mean, exactly. Like, he's been playing good now again in some of these events without the full field. But, man, if you look at Ashkay's CV, like, this guy has been a phenom for a long, long time. And I think a lot of people expected him to turn pro and just automatically be on the tour. It took a little bit longer for him to get there. But he's now fulfilling a lot of the promise that he had as one of the most talented amateur and junior golfers on the planet. And I think there's something to finally getting in the win circle. I mean, we've seen it. Morikawa won this tournament. You know what he did the rest of the next 16 months? Won a major. Heck, he might have won 2 majors depending on how the calendar works. But you know what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
Ashkay has the entire game. He's clicking right now. I couldn't believe in this field he's 80-1. I would have thought that we would have been maybe getting him at 50 or something like that, considering a recent win in his form. So if you're looking for a long shot, I absolutely love Ashkay Badia, 80-1. He is on the card as well. But the big picks right now, as you mentioned, I'm riding with you, Pat. And again, we don't talk about these beforehand. JT Poston, Denny McCarthy, 28 and 25 respectively. Who else you got, Dusty?
The only other two guys I got, after I was just like, we both can't be on McCarthy and Poston the same week. Like, I wasn't getting off Poston, but I was like, you know what? So I did throw Russell Henley on my card. I mean, the last 3 times here, he was T9, T7, T5. Like, he's been a top 10 machine at this course. I think his scoring average is sub 67. It's like 66.5 scoring average over the last 3 times at this event. So Henley at 20-1. I guess I'll pluck him out of that group of guys at 20-1. And then I like the fact that you can get Shane Lowry at 33-1 in this event. He's 76 in the FedEx Cup standings right now, so he needs to perform at this event, and he's got 5 top 20s in his last 7 events. So he's playing well. Got to get some points here as far as the race for the FedEx Cup goes. And you can get him at 33-1, which at times we've seen better fields with Lowry in this sort of 33, 35, 40 range, right? So I just looked at him against this field at 33-1. I feel like it's pretty good value on Shane Lowry. So Henley, Poston, and Lowry would end up being my 3 outrights.
So what are we going to do for this partner parlay? By the way, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with like Denny McCarthy's plus 250 for top 10, JT's plus 375 for top 10, for top 20s, and maybe the purposes of our partner parlay, plus 120 for Denny, plus 160 for JT Poston. Those are both pretty nice numbers.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I like that. I actually like
time.
That.
Yeah. Then we just need one more. If we go 2 top 20s for those guys, I mean, that's a good start. So
that certainly is. I mean, we want to get another guy like Henley's minus 120. I don't know what they're like. The value of that as the favorite to go in just seems to be. I mean, we could that entire group: Sungjae, Hideki, Siwoo Kim, Hideki. I think put it this way: of those 4, would probably be the guy that I would be the most confident of being, a top 20. He could easily win this tournament. I mean, I'm actually surprised no one had a Hideki ticket, like, of the group. I mean, it's funny, we do these independently. We just sort of settled on these guys, but
Hideki's been on my card, I think, for 3 weeks straight. So, I mean, there's a good chance because he's not on my card, he wins this thing. So
I'm never anti Hideki if that's what we end up wanting to throw in here as well. You're thinking three top 20s here, Huss? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, our main guys are JT and Denny McCarthy, a plus 120, a plus 160. We slam Hideki at minus 110. Throw those 3 guys together on a top 20. Patty,
you good with that or what?
I'm always fine with that. Again, I think Hideki had one bad round, 173. I think it was on Saturday. He really struggled on Saturday. He easily could have been in the top 20 last week at the 3M. He's playing in a lot of these tournaments where most guys probably wouldn't. I think he's got some motivation factor right now to try to improve his FedEx Cup standing and kind of get back into form heading into the playoffs. So I'm quite fine with that. I mean, usually my Greggy Golf specials, 3 top 20 finishes anyway. So I'm not opposed to going with 3. So I really like that.
I mean, I'm just looking. Sungjae is another guy that we could consider. And he's been so weird. Like, we talk about top 20s. He missed the cut in Minneapolis. He was T20 at the Open. He missed the cut at the Scottish Open, but was T24 at Rocket Morgan, T29 at the Travelers. So he's been sort of rounded. And then before that was 34. Oh, sorry. Those are T8s a little earlier on. He had missed a little cut. It's been a little bit since he was 8th at Quail Hollow, 7th at the Heritage, 6th at the Players. He has gotten away on it a little bit. And then let's just confirm what Hideki has done at the last few tourneys. So yeah, T30, but T13 at the Open, missed the cut at the Rocket Mortgage, T13 at the Travelers. I think Hideki's probably
Let me make a case for my man Henley, because he's got to be a similar number to those guys, right? Like, as far as throw him into a parlay.
He's minus 120. Yeah, the other guys are minus.
Henley has 8 top 20s in his last 11 events. Like, he's been a steady diet of top 20s. That's why I had him on the card, I think, at the John Deere, and he finished T35. He missed the cut at the Open Championship, but prior to that, his season had been T19, T17, T4, T19, cut at the PGA Championship, T16, T16, T14, T19, and then T35 and cut. So he hasn't been great in his last 2 events, but he was a steady diet of top 20s for a long time, right? Against some pretty decent fields. So I don't know.
Stuck in there. My only concern about that is that we're talking about, I mean, the last time that he was T19 at the Travelers, but that was in mid-June. Like, he just played the John Deere.
He's only played a couple times,
the Open Championship. And the Open was not good, although the Open's such a different beast that, it's hard to put too much into it. Well, this is
I
was fine with Hideki too. I mean, Pat, what do you think?
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with Hideki. I think Hideki would be my vote, but if I had to pick another guy or open up the conversation, Mr. Bermuda Grass, Sam Burns, he's really good here.
Sam Burns,
he's battling to get on that Ryder Cup team. He would be in the conversation, but I mean, I think Hideki's also a pretty safe play as well. He's a guy with some motivating factors.
Hideki's probably winning now that you're not having him as an outright.
Yeah, we probably have to go with Hideki now. I mean,
I'm fine with Hideki.
When Russell Henley wins this thing, I'm going to be sending you both very angry texts. Okay. So this is a good debate. I like this. This is good.
This would be. I hope there's somebody out there that literally they're waiting to make their card on the guys that we mentioned, but don't bet. That's
Patty, do you have a Greggy's golf special already up?
It's not up yet, but it will be.
It's going to be close to this, isn't it?
It was going to, so I have to pretty much mold it completely. But I have it in my head. It's going to be Sam Burns top 10.
Okay.
Akshay top 20.
Oh, that'll be a good one. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I will ride with you on that, Patrick.
I'm so glad you brought up Akshay, man. I think this could be a turning point in his career after that win. I love how he took the week off, celebrate, enjoy yourself. I did see though on his socials, he still was practicing, but he didn't compete. So I think he's in a great headspace, and I think this is maybe where his career kind of takes a leapfrog.
Well, and just on Akshay, I mean, I just kind of mentioned him as an outright 80-1 because he had one. But if plus 260 top 20, plus 625 top 10 in this field, he can hang with these guys. Mm-hmm. So, there may be some other options other than just going through the fences with that outright. So,
who owns a dog?
That is up to right now.
That's
Pat, is that your dog? I was going to say, I didn't know Huss had a dog. Like, all right. Good stuff, boys. Great chat. Patty, we'll catch up again next week, man.
Awesome. Thanks as always for having me. And official, just placed a bet. Europe plus 160 to win the Ryder Cup.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's already on it.
Had to do it. Had to do it.
God, just talking about this is making me that I will just tell this to anyone, and I've said this to you, Pat, before. If you ever have the opportunity to get to the Ryder Cup, it is so on another level than any sort of a golf event you can ever attend. And I'm lucky enough just with geography. It was at Hazeltine, I think 6 years ago. And then I went and had such a great time. And one of my buddies won the thing. I wouldn't ever even really thought about going to the Ryder Cup. And I went. And then it was like a life-changing experience. So went in the lottery for the next one and got it. And then, it wasn't too far away either. Italy, a little further away. But to get to one in Europe, I think, if I ever go to Europe, it's either going to be for a Ryder Cup or the Chiefs playing in Germany. One of those two things. So, see if we can make that happen. But no, it's going to be good and a lot of intrigue. Would love to go. Hopefully the boys are already on it. That would be, would give us something really cool to talk about too. Odds on who will make both of those teams for that matter.
Yeah,
I mean, there's probably a nice little market we can come up with here for the boys, Patty.
I know it's not the Ryder Cup, but I do know it's in Canada next year. The President's Cup.
100%. We're there.
I think we got to go. I think we have to go.
Haven't we already discussed that, Huss? I feel like we've already discussed that.
Yeah, guys, in fact, it is official. We are needing to get working on that right now, just some of the logistics about it. But a very good friend of mine, shout out to Ryan Hart, Winnipeg Made, is the tournament director for the entire thing. He was the PGA, was put on the players. He would kill me if I didn't go. So I have a feeling we'll go and we'll be doing the show like for the entire week from there, banging out some lock shops, getting out on the course, taking in some of the wonderful things Montreal has to offer. How can we say no to that, guys?
I'm in. I'm absolutely in.
I'm in. I love that city. That'd be great. A little Winnipeg sports talk, Edmonton sports talk, set up on location at President's. Yeah, that'd be good. All right, Patty. We'll talk to you next week, buddy. There you
Cheers,
go. That's
boys.
Pat Gregoire from Coolbet. Good discussion on that back and forth with Burns and Hideki and Henley.
It's a wild board. It is a wild board right now. And I got on a little bit late because I looked on Monday and it wasn't up yet. And then I was doing a bunch of other things. So it was last night where I really sort of dove into it. But it's a really fascinating board. I mean, I can't remember something that has so many, like doesn't really have a short favorite or two. It's just sort of spread out in that 20 to 40 range. And there's a lot of guys that could win. And but I'm looking forward to our parlay top 20s for Hideki, Denny McCarthy, and JT Poston. Let's get it done. We'll see what that number is. And I'll be mentioning that on Winnipeg Sports Talk as well.
Hey, quickly before we wrap, the line has not moved in that Lions Bombers game. It's still at 6. Like I'm pretty surprised by this. I got it yesterday at 6. I thought it was going to move. We're going to do a full CFL episode, obviously, on Thursday. I'll be there for that game. So I'm looking for it. Could be the game of the year, considering what happened the first time. And then Calgary's an 8.5-point home dog against the unbeaten Argos. Alouettes, Ticats 2.5. Ticats the dog, and then the Riders are 1-point underdogs to the Crumblacks. But yeah, I'm surprised that number's still sitting at 6, buddy. I mean, I've been prepping for this game. The Lions defense is legit as they come. I feel like that defense alone keeps it close, but yeah.
Hey, it is, listen, this game, I am so fired up for Hit. We've spent a lot of time on WST talking about it. Farhan's going to jump on today. We're going to have Derek Taylor. I mean, this sort of is the story around here this week. But yeah, I'm stunned. I mean, I would have thought that this would have been more like a 3-point game. But yeah, as I say, I think what we don't take into account as much as the odds do, and probably the early week bettors, the sharps, if you will, is the schedule that we've been talking about. I mean, BC has played 2 games since the Bombers have played last. And they also played on Saturday night and are traveling halfway across the country to play Winnipeg.
Quick turnaround for sure. Yeah.
Quick turnaround, pissed off team with let's give the Bombers the credit that they have earned over the last 4 years too. They've been the team to beat, and I'm sure there's a lot of people think that was a fluke. I don't think it was a fluke. I mean, the BC is the real deal, and this defense is legit. That being said, they're gonna get to use a Rick Bonusism, some pushback from the Bombers on Thursday.
The 2 best receiving cores in the Canadian Football League going head-to-head as well. I mean, the talent that BC has rivals even the Shones and Lawlers and Dent. Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to call this game. I am very excited to get to Winnipeg and call this game, buddy.
Yeah, and listen, even I know there might be some people thinking, and I'm sure this is played into the line that, Dane Evans is expected to start. Oh, he's the backup quarterback. Well, Dane torched the Bomber secondary for 5 touchdowns last year and put up 48 on them in Hamilton when the Bombers were 12-1.
That's right. I remember that.
So, I mean, there is a few things to think that this game. Listen, I hope that it's close. I just hope the Bombers win, because if you go to the Coolbet exclusives, and we know that our lock shop or the golf ones will be up.
Yeah.
We do have a Winnipeg Sports Talk exclusive that's already in for the weekend. And it's very simple. Bombers to win on Thursday against BC, and the Seabears to win against Edmonton on Friday in their playoff game.
The Stingers.
And get this, dude. So last
Tell
Saturday,
me they're opening the upper bowl.
they're opening the upper bowl.
What?
They just
Wow.
announced that this morning.
Wow.
They just announced that this morning. So last week, Winnipeg broke another CEBL record that they've just been dropping game by game throughout the season. First game, the all-time record was 4,400. They had about 65, couple smaller crowds that still were like 5,000.
Yeah.
And then it was 7. And then last game, they broke the record again. I think they broke it 6 times this year. They got over 9,000. And this morning,
That's awesome,
just
dude.
put out that the upper bowl is going to be open. So I have no idea what this crowd is going to be like, but I can tell you it will be absolutely bananas. Those two teams played a really tight, good game on Saturday. I was at it. But if you're in on the WST exclusive, you'll hope that the home team will win this one. So Bombers and Sea Bears plus 185, 2 favorites parlayed together. That's in the exclusives right now.
I think we just got to wrap with a YouTube comment from Big Uke. It's good. The Elks are 8.5-point underdogs on their bye week. Sounds about right, I think.
Hey,
yeah.
The one positive of you guys, the summer of LTE and taking some time to work on all your new thing is that I can't even imagine what it would be like to be doing that show right now with nothing happening on the Oilers and to have to talk about a team that hadn't won at home since 2019 and was 0-for on the season.
People would be angry. I mean, that helps like a little bit. We saw
at
the
a
decade of
certain
darkness.
Point, though, they tune out. You know what I mean? I mean, people are just sick of it. Like, you can only have like listen, I'm not even going to get into the people blaming it on the name change, but I mean, you've got those people there, and a lot of people that actually care are so just absolutely distraught about what's happened to the team and the franchise. They can't listen. They want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
what
let me give.
Well, the last one was actually pretty good. There was like 22,000 there. It was.
No,
it was not bad.
Like later on in the season.
Oh yeah, no, miserable.
Fan.
Yeah, miserable.
Like,
but think about this. I'm just going to lay this out there. So they haven't won yet. They're on a bye week. They come back. They get Winnipeg here. Not easy. Then they get Ottawa and Hamilton. You never know. They're making a change at OC. They're making a change at quarterback. The Calgary Stampeders, their next 4 games, and they only have 2 wins. Argos, Lions, Bombers, Argos again. So if the Elks could sweep the Labor Day and the rematch, they'd be right in the thick of it with the Calgary Stampeders if Calgary ends up dropping like 3 of these next 4, which isn't crazy to think considering it's the Argos, Lions, and Bombers. Like,
hey, let me take this one step further. Saskatchewan's not doing anything right now.
Oh my God. Hey,
are the Elks a playoff team?
The Elks could be a playoff team. What are the Riders,
guys? We get a number on that right now. Edmonton Elks to make the playoffs this season.
Jake, if you're listening, I want it. I want it. Give it to us. The Elks to make the playoffs this season. They're on a bye week. Reset it. Give it to me. That would be great. Man, I'd hammer that thing just for the ride. Just for the ride. Let's see what happens. All right, buddy. CFL episode tomorrow. Obviously, you can tell we're excited for it. And we'll have that tomorrow for you on the Lock Shop, buddy. I'll talk to you then.
You got it, bud.